What is the best way to combat overthinking, which causes anxiety and stress? Oh, yes. This is a problem that so many people suffer from today, and I won't go into all the reasons why. I can, probably for an hour. But yes, there are many, many reasons why, indeed, so many people overthink everything. Let me say the best way to stop overthinking is to, at least momentarily, get yourself out of your mind. I don't mean lose your mind. I mean this. When a person is overthinking, they're trapped in their mind. You see, let me go a little bit in depth into this. We have various strata of being when it comes to who we are. We have our physical body. We have our emotions. We have our mind. We have our intellect. We have our sense of identity, which for most people, sadly, is warped right now. Thus, we have false ego, false identity. And then ultimately, we have our soul, our consciousness. Well, we can be consciousness aside. Oh, we want to be identifying fully with our consciousness. That aside, all the other strata that I mentioned, we can be trapped in one or another of those. Some people are trapped in their body, meaning they really live. They identify with and they live as if I am just this body. And the body is all they care about. They try to give as much pleasure to the body as possible. They feed the body. They only care about, they see themselves as the body, etc., etc. That's a person who's trapped in, sadly, an animal-like existence, where they can't even touch base with any deeper part of themselves. They just live as body. And then, again, I can go through this whole list of things, but I won't. There are people who are trapped in their minds. You know, we hear this all the time. Oh, so and such, oh, he's so mental. Meaning what? You know, you hear that all the time. Meaning constantly thinking, trapped in the mind, to the point where they lose touch with all the other aspects of themselves, but especially, of course, the higher aspects. The way to stop overthinking is, by any means necessary, to then focus on and exercise the other parts of who you are. Certainly the higher aspects, but interestingly, I've actually said this to people who suffer from this problem of overthinking, even to identify a little bit more actually with the body, to be situated more in the physical plane, but also in the intellectual, also in the emotional, also in the spiritual ultimately. In other words, if you are too concentrated on the mental aspect of who you are, go exercise. Go take a walk in nature. Go to the gym. Physically feel your heart pumping, feel yourself sweating, etc. But more, if you are too trapped in the mind. Also, focus on emotions more. What does that mean? That means watch beautiful, very emotionally moving sort of films, read beautiful literature, read poetry, things like this that will stimulate your emotions in a positive way. It means ultimately, of course, begin to identify with yourself as soul, as consciousness. So meditate more. Indeed, meditate as much as you can and identify with yourself as Atman. Do whatever you need to, such that rather than being trapped in that box of the mind, now your awareness is more evenly situated, more balanced, in such a way that you're aware of all these things. You're aware of your heart beating. You're aware of happy, wonderful feelings that are within you. You are aware of interesting intellectual thoughts. Again, not just being mental, but purposefully thinking in a reasonable, logical sort of way. And ultimately communing with your own soul and communing ultimately with God. In this way, have a balanced life. And in that way, you'll be freed from that box of being just in mind, thinking. And you're right, being trapped in the mind like that causes nothing but anxiety. And you don't want anxiety, so this is how I would combat it.